Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bree. Today we're going to be doing something different. We're going to be doing a weekly vlog. I've been doing a lot of challenge videos and I really just miss mood reading, and I've been trying to figure out for the last year or so what I enjoy making and reading vlogs, because I really enjoy the process of making them, but I struggle with wanting to keep things with a theme so that people know what to expect, or doing like a weekly vlog. And I just think in my heart I'm a mood reader. So I think I'm going to continue to do a challenge video every now and then, but I want to try out going to weekly vlogs and just being okay with cutting off a video at the end of the day if I haven't finished a book, because that was also my big thing. So we're trying it, and the first book I want to read is A Nest of Vipers by Harini Nagendra. This just came in from a pre-order that I had placed in January, and it's part of a series that I really, really love. It's a historical mystery series set in Bangalore, India in the 1920s, and I just really like the found family and a lot of things about this series, so I was really excited when this came out. It's the third book in the series, so it's also a shorter series if you're looking for a shorter historical mystery series to start. This one is really good, and I think it's an underrated series. So this one is definitely on my list to get to, and then after that, I'm just going to kind of pick up whatever I feel like, which is very exciting, because that is how I normally read, and reading should be fun. It should not be a task or a challenge necessarily. Though I do like doing the challenge videos because they're like fun to make, but I just mean it shouldn't be hard to read, you know, it should be just fun. So we're gonna have fun in this reading vlog, and that's what I'm going to start with. I will let you know once I've started it and what my thoughts are. Let me know what you think about reading vlogs. Do you prefer lifestyle vlogs, or do you prefer challenge videos, or do you just want to hear about books? Like, I'm curious to know your thoughts on reading vlogs because they've been a challenge for me, so I want to know what other people think. But let's just, without further ado, let's just get into the video. So I'm home now, and I read A Nest of Vipers while at work on audio, and I made it to about the 50% mark. So this is the third in the Bangalore Detectives Club, and no, I always call it that. It's actually called Kaveri and Ramu. The first one's called a Bangalore Detectives Club, but I'm confused because it says it there. But on Goodreads, it's Kaveri and Ramu, so I'm confused. But it's the third book in the series, and I really, really enjoy it. I really like the audiobook too. I think that it feels really alive to me, and so I've been listening to that on Hoopla, which is great, and it reads really quickly. The one thing is the font is like huge in this book, so it's a lot shorter than the other ones, I think, because the font wasn't that big. So I think it's going to be a really quick read just from seeing how far I got at work. Let me tell you what this one's about. So in this one, we start off where Kaveri and Ramu are at a circus type event that they get invited to, and they meet this magician and his son, and then while they're at the circus, some weird stuff starts happening, and then this group that have been like robbing people come in and start to rob everyone at the circus. And when that all disperses, they end up finding a body of a person that they had known, and it has to do with some of their friends and some different past stuff that's come up from the previous books. But overall, the mystery is really tied to like this magician. And one thing I've said in the past, which is true for this story as well, is I really like all the imagery, the talk of food, and just the way that Bangalore, the city, is described. I really, really enjoy. I think it just brings to life this story a lot. And I really like the found family elements and seeing different relationships grow throughout the series. I have really struggled to find what I love in historical mysteries, but I think that one of them is like a strong sense of found family. I think historical mysteries kind of bridge the gap between like mystery and cozy mystery, where they can be a little bit darker, but they can also have that cozy feel. And this, I think, slightly leans to the cozier side, but that being said, I still really enjoy it. I think I tend to prefer them leaning a little more to the mystery side than cozy, but this one, I think just the setting and everything and the main character Kaveri like really lend itself to a more cozier type thing. So this is set in the 1920s in Bangalore, and we're dealing a lot with the British rule of India, and at the time of this book is where more and more unrest is starting to happen, and we have more groups that might want to be not under British rule anymore, but then there's classes of people who think that the British rule is good. So there's a lot of like upheaval and unrest, and especially in this one we're talking a lot about that. And I think that the historical context this is bringing in is really also really nice, and I like learning about this piece of history through this context, although it's not like a substitute for a nonfiction of this. I really like historical mystery for that reason. Like sometimes you can get some historical context of things in a mystery plot, and so I'm really enjoying it. And I really don't know, like, mystery wise, like who is gonna be behind it. So like this book, I'm not really spending it trying to figure out who did it. I kind of just like being in the world with the characters. Versus like when I read a mystery, I tend to want to figure it out more. And this, I'm just like along for the ride. So overall, I'm enjoying it. It's a very fun, cozy mystery. I think if you're like not into historical mysteries, this might not be your thing. But if you're someone who really likes historical mysteries, like I think that this is a very underrated series, in my opinion. I suggest giving it a go because I'm enjoying it. And I think the first one will give you a good taste of like what the series is. If you read it and you don't like it, I think the tone and everything stays consistent through the rest of the series. That being said, I'm going to try to finish reading this tonight and see if I can finish and go on to my next book tomorrow. But I don't know how much more I will film tonight. I've been really struggling with my eyes, like getting really fatigued after work, and I come home and it's like I can barely keep them open. I can read and stuff, but I just struggle like with focusing on things, and so recording has been like a little difficult for me. My like vision's very blurry. So we'll see how much I read and how much I film, just because if it gets worse, I just feel like I need to give my eyes a break. I'm gonna cuddle with Pippi, probably out on the couch, and just read and relax. And I will see you when I see you.
I saw the ending before the movie was done. I got thick skin because I've been burned before. I got baggage that you don't know of. Learn the hard way not to trust anyone. I'm not letting anyone get too close. I'm a wild one, I'm alright, love on my own. You probably think I'm hurting, but darling, I'll be fine. It's just a little heartbreak, and heartbreak fades with time. You probably think I'm broken, I swear that I'm alright. It's just a little heartbreak, and heartbreak fades with time. You probably think I'm hurting, right? But cowgirls don't cry.
Apologies for how orange it is right now. I can't do anything about it. The sun is setting literally right there. But it's 7:30. I finished A Nest of Vipers. I think I'm going to go with like a 3-star. So I really love the atmosphere and the characters and stuff like that. There's a lot of like charm to the story. I just think this particular mystery fell a little flat for me. There was a lot of interesting commentary about the like fight for independence, and there's a lot of exploration on how someone should fight for freedom. So like they discuss, should they follow Gandhi and be more peaceful, or should violence be used, and like what is the means you should get like used to get your freedom. And everyone kind of has like differing opinions because it is such like a complex topic. And so I appreciated that kind of conversation. But the actual mystery itself, surrounding like these magicians and stuff, I just think was somewhat like convoluted, but then not like fully fleshed out. And the like ending just didn't feel like the payoff was there. And there was also just a very specific part of the ending that I'm just not really sure how I feel about. I don't necessarily think it was bad. I don't know. It's just to me it was like questionable. Sorry, Pippi's crying. It was questionable of like this thing that happened. I don't know how I feel about it. And I like Kaveri as like a main character. I've liked her in the last two, but in this one, she felt just more damsel in distress for me. Yeah, it just felt like more situations where she was like kind of needing to be rescued and stuff. And so like I think because of the like mystery not being as interesting. Some of the things just I noticed a little bit more. It could have just, I don't know, had a little bit more in terms of like plot building than it did to make it a more well-rounded mystery. But like I said, I did enjoy still like the aspects of like the cooking and the way that the scene is always described. She really describes her settings well and makes me feel like I'm there with the characters. And I really like all the characters and the side characters, though I do think that in this book, some of them were kind of like running together because you see a lot of people from the previous two books, and I think some of the side characters weren't getting like as much of a personality, so they were starting to blend together. Overall, I still want to continue. I just think that this one didn't really hold my attention quite as much as I was hoping to. But my brain is mush. It's 7:30. I do think I'm going to try to pick up another book tonight, but I don't think I'm going to like vlog any of it because, like I said, my brain is just mush. I can barely keep this eye open. So I may or may not read, but I want to, but I just don't think I'm going to be checking in anymore tonight, and I'll just let you know more thoughts in the morning, and maybe I'll be more coherent about this in the morning. I'm not sure.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight.
Hello. Excuse this mess. It is 3:30 and I'm in bed. So if you have a chronic illness, you probably know that sometimes you just believe you can do all the things and you can't do all the things. And so I was like, I'm gonna vlog and read. I'm gonna go over to my parents and hang out. And then I got there. We ended up doing some errands for like went to a plant store, which was fun and stuff like that. And then we went over to my sister's boyfriend's house to like help her plant some stuff. And I just was like, I can do it all. No, I can't because I overdid it, as I am known to do. So now I'm here looking like this, just in the bed. So, and I've only read to page 44. Well, first, before I talk about the book, I got these from the plant store. They're called bee cups. They're for the pollinators. So you basically, like, if you can see, there's a bottom. So you stick them in your plant and then you fill it up with a little bit of water, and it's for the pollinators to get their water from it. But I'm very excited about them because gotta love the bees, give them some, water and stuff. So I'll be putting those outside with plants. But then the book, The Lies of the Ajungo, the Lies of the Ajungo by Moses Ose Utemi, is a little novella. I don't know if I told you what it was about, but it's basically about this young boy who lives in the desert, and his people have like very, very little water. So at the age of 13, your tongue gets cut out. So then you can't like verbally speak. And he's like just about to turn 13, so he's like gonna get his tongue cut out very soon. But they're like basically dying of dehydration, and the tongue getting cut out is like related to like the water situation. So he decides he wants to be a hero and he wants to go and find water for his people. So we're following him as he takes off, and he goes on this journey, and he's meeting other people, and you're learning more about the world. And I find it really fascinating because I think that we're just going to get a glimpse of this world, but I can see where the novellas are really going to build upon this and just make it such a vast world, because it seems like there's going to be so many people that he might encounter and so many like things he's going to learn. So I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I'm on page 44, and it's got this like storytelling quality to it because he like tells stories of his past to people, and then the people he meets, they tell stories, and it just is told in like this very storytelling way. Even the writing itself, like when we're just in his head, does feel like you're being told this like story of a young boy, almost like you're being sat down and like told the story. It feels like that. I don't know if I'm describing this well, but I'm really, really enjoying it, and I'm definitely going to finish it today. As soon as I finish this clip, I'm going to continue reading because it's only 84 pages, and I really want to know how it's going to end. the only thing is I have a feeling that it's going to feel too short, because 84 pages to me is just, it's really on the short end of a novella, and I feel like there's so much I want to understand and learn about this world that I feel like I'm gonna end wishing I had more. But I have heard that the series gets better and better as it goes on, so I don't mind having a series that is like giving you piece by piece the world. Murderbot is kind of like that, where you're slowly learning more and more as things progress. I don't mind that, but I think that I want a little bit longer. I really feel like my sweet spot with novellas is like 150 pages. I feel like that 100 to 150 pages like really has enough added to it that I don't feel like it's too short. So that's how I'm feeling about this one. But otherwise, I really like it, and I really feel like it's a good one to pick up, especially if you like fantasy, kind of like storytelling, adventure. Yeah, it's really good. It's not as actiony as you might think. It's more of a slow paced story, but at the same time, I feel like it's doing a lot that I really love. So I'm gonna go finish this, and then I will tell you probably how I'm feeling at the end and my final thoughts. And then I think after that, I don't have it in here, I think I'm gonna pick up What the River Knows, because the audiobook came in for that, and so I think I'm gonna try to read that. I think I'm gonna try to read that as well, because I can like tandem read it. So that's the plan. I will see you in a little bit. Did I just like cut myself?
Being gentle with how we feel. There's a charge in the room. I can feel all the fire rising. I'll handle with care. We will honor this tender space, giving time to let go. Peace comes as we pause, breathing in deep until there's calm. Peace comes as we pause, breathing in deep until there's calm. Only I'll make still this weather in me. I breathe in, I breathe out, till my energy slows. Different meaning, expectations, they leave us deafened by pride. I will listen, find acceptance, a choice to actively love. Peace comes as we pause.
I finished. Yeah, that was really good. I was saying that I felt like I was gonna worry it was gonna be too short. No, I actually think it ended up being a really good length. The end, there were things I saw coming, things I did not see coming. Yeah, it was really good. It was a lot about like power and who wields it and who gets to tell history, who informs history, and like I don't want to say too much because I feel like it's good to like read it for yourself, but it's just a lot about power and powerlessness. And yeah, we're just watching this young boy as he leaves home, like just desperate to save his mom and his people, and feeling very helpless and powerless. And he leaves and he learns so much about the world he meets so many people and a lot of things happen to him. But it all culminates with the ending and like how he learns so much and how he chooses to move forward. And I'm very interested to see in the next, because I know there's at least two more. I'm really interested to see like where it goes and like what we're going to explore in the other two, because the way this ends, I'm just not really sure like how it's going to continue. Like I really have no idea where it would go, but I'm so intrigued. Like this was really good. I think that I'm going to give it a 4.5. There's something about it that just doesn't feel like a 5 star, and I feel like the next book would be a 5 star because I think that it's just going to expand a lot more. I think that this really felt like a builder book and it did it really well, but I just am so excited to see like what the rest of the series holds, because I think that's where I'm really going to fall in love with it. But this is so good, and his writing is really good. Like I really like the style of writing. I really like this I don't want to say fairy tales feeling because it doesn't really feel like that, but this like storytelling way of writing. I've read it in a couple of books and I just think it really works for me in stories like this, where it feels, yeah, like fairy tale folklore storytelling y in certain stories where we have like a young protagonist and they're learning about the world and coming of age type things. I think that that element of storytelling really works for me. Also, the magic side of it comes in later more and more, and I think maybe in like the rest of the series we'd see the magic elements come out more. It just more feels like a magical world. But I really liked that side of it when it like when we got to explore it more. I really enjoyed seeing how it works, and again, it's like just touching the surface, I feel like, of what he has in his head for this world, and I'm so excited to see like what more is gonna happen with it, and like how the magic's gonna expand, how the world's gonna expand, how characters are gonna expand. I really like this. It was so good and it had a lot to say, and I think it did it well, and I just wish more people were talking about this because it was really good. I think the next one's called something like something of the Aleko. Sorry, my head's gonna cut off here. So the second one is called The Truth of the Aleke, Forever Desert #2. So definitely gonna be reading that one. That's the cover for it. Definitely gonna be reading that one because I really loved this. I've been really happy that I've been finding novellas, because they really work for me. I never thought I'd be a novella person because I didn't really love short stories. Like whenever I read them in school, and I've tried a couple short stories and they're just not my thing, but there's something about a novella length that really works for me. Writers who can do novellas well, it's amazing to me how much they can pack in such a short story. Because this is 80 pages, and like I said, I was worried about the length before, but in the end, it like was really good. I think like you could argue that there was some like character things that maybe could have been explored more or fleshed out more, or like maybe spent a little bit more on world building, but I felt satisfied for what I got. I feel like it did all the things I wanted it to do. So I feel satisfied, and yeah, 4.5 stars. Loved it. Definitely gonna continue. I don't have it with me, but I think the next thing I'm gonna read is What the River Knows. And I'll check in a little later. Pippi is with me. He's over there behind my camera case. I don't know if you can see him. So yeah, I'll check in a little bit. I will probably take a little bit of a break and then go into the next one because I just don't want to jump right into it after just having such a good experience with this. I need time to let it marinate. Good morning. Please don't look too closely at the state of my kitchen. I'm getting ready and making myself tea so I can go to my parents' area, and we're gonna go to a restaurant for my mom for Mother's Day because today's Mother's Day. So I'm just trying to get tea ready before I go. So I've got to page like 80 in What the River Knows, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Sorry, it's really hard for me to do things while I'm doing things. I don't know why. Just is very difficult for me. So, What the River Knows is about this young girl who lives in Argentina, but her parents are like archaeologists, and they have been in Cairo for years, and she lives at her family's like like her sister of her dad or something's house. And one day, at the very beginning, she gets a note saying that her parents were lost in the desert and that they have died. And I think what it sounds like is no one's seen them yet. So they're assuming they're dead because if they're in the desert for that long, they would be dead. But they were looking for certain treasures, so she decides to leave because she's been left in the custody of her uncle, who's also in Cairo. She decides to go to Cairo and just get away and live with her uncle and try to figure out what happened to her parents, because she doesn't really have any answers, but also like she's living with her aunt at their like place in Argentina, but she doesn't really fit in and she doesn't want to just like be married off and stuff like that. So this is YA too, so she's like 16, I want to say, and she gets there and she meets a man who works for her uncle who is about the same age as her, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a romance between them. I don't think you would call it rivals or enemies to lovers because I just think they get off on the wrong foot, but I don't think that they're enemies. And yeah, there's a mystery of like this ring her dad sent her and what's going on with that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I like doing the audiobook, physical book. I think the audiobook narrator is really good. And I'm enjoying like the writing style. It's very, very easy to read, but it also, it very already invokes the like feeling of that time period. We're set in like the 1860s or something, I want to say. And so there's also a lot going on politically in Cairo because the British have, it's during the time where the British have occupation of Cairo, but then there's like some resistance and people wanting to, well, I say Cairo, but Egypt in general. And the people are trying to start to fight back against that. And so we see like some of that political stuff playing out. And I think it's going to play out into like the artifacts, because there's also a lot of discussions of artifacts being like pillaged from, is that the right word? Pillaged from the like dig sites and taken and sold for a high price or taken to museums outside of Egypt, which has been a discussion for a long time. And so I think that it's good to see in this kind of book that we're diving into that. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I think right off the bat, it's sucked me in and I want to know. So I'm definitely going to be continuing today. Yeah, I'm excited to get to it because it wasn't anticipated release, and so far it's really holding up. And I like both of our characters, but we're getting way more of our main girl character, and I can't remember her name at the moment, but than the guy, but I think maybe it might end up being more later. And I also don't know if this is going to be a series or if it's just going to be a standalone. So, okay, I've been doing this, talking, and then my phone will just start talking to me. I don't understand. Okay, so I'm gonna go get breakfast and things like that, and then I'll check back in a little bit when I have more reading progress for you. Hello, it's the morning just before work. I wanted to update because I am about 40% into the book, so I know that I'm going to be listening while at work today, so I know I'll make a lot of progress. And I'm really, really liking this. I read, I think 2 months ago, a book, I think it was called like Empire of Shadows, and it was doing a similar thing, but I just feel like this is connecting with me way more. And I think part of it is the descriptions, like the setting feels very real, everything's like well described, but also I really like our main character, Inez. I think that she's a really interesting character, and you just, sorry, the cats are going crazy this morning. And her and Wit, who is the guy character, I think that their back and forth is like feels very natural, and I really am interested to see where it's going, because right now there's a lot of questions of like who is the bad guy, who's the good guy, and what like really is going on. But basically they're trying to find Cleopatra's tomb, and other people are trying to get it. And it's also a lot of conversation around like who gets to tell history, who gets the artifacts from history, and there's a lot of like the British pillaging and taking stuff and selling it or taking it to their museums and stuff. And so her uncle is on the side of wanting it to stay in Egypt and stay with the people of Egypt, but also there's also like magic within it. So like magical objects they can like be imbued with like memories and stuff, and then help you like to track to other things. So there's this like ring that has magic, and Inez can feel the magic and feel the pull like towards other objects that I guess Cleopatra has used. And so I'm interested to see how that's gonna work itself out. But right now it's fun. It's high stakes enough without being like too high stakes at the moment. We are now like on board and like moving more into like the plot of the tombs and stuff and like excavating and all that. So I feel like the like danger side will ramp up. But right now I think it's like the perfect amount and its pace is really good. So I'm overall having a really good time. When I had originally bought this, I just thought it sounded like a book for me. And it's so far it's giving me like exactly what I want from it. So I'm really happy. And I love the writing style. Like the writing is just so beautiful. Not overly flowery, but gives so much of the world and makes me feel like I'm there in the streets of Cairo. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm definitely going to continue and read a lot today. So I'll probably come back after work with another sizable update for you. Apologies if you can hear the rain. It has been raining outside and I can't do anything about it. So here we are. I made it to 75% of the way through, so I'm on page 293, and I'm almost gonna finish it. I'm definitely gonna finish it tomorrow, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I was curious if this was going to be a series because with how much I have left, there's still so much to wrap up and still so many things that I think need to be answered that I wasn't really sure how she's gonna do it. And like the romance side of things still needs like more developing in my opinion. And I looked, it is going to be a part of a series. So that makes a lot more sense to me now, like the way it's structured and like how far we've gotten in certain developments. So one thing is, I think that if you enjoy Divine Rivals, like for the magic system and for the historical elements, I think that you could really like this because it's historical mainly with like a sprinkle of magic, and the magic part I think just like helps to make the plot go a little bit forward. It's not a very big defining part of the book. Like with Divine Rivals, the typewriters are just kind of a means of getting the characters to communicate. In this, it's just a means of getting them to find certain things. So in that sense, like if you like lighter fantasy, this is definitely giving lighter fantasy, and I'm really enjoying it. I think it's slower, it's not quite so action packed, but there is stuff happening. The action is really that Inez is trying to discover like who to trust and who are the bad guys, and so from that sense, like there is stakes and it feels more like a high stakes fantasy than like something cozier, but it's not action packed, like fighting off people and stuff like that so far. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm excited to see how it ends. I think one critique I do have of it is that for the romance side of things, I don't think Wit as a character has been like fleshed out enough. Like he has a personality, but his backstory and like why we should care for him hasn't been fleshed out enough. And he holds like a lot of secrets, which I get as part of his characterization, but I think that we get chapters from his point of view. Well, I say chapters. We get little snippets from his point of view at the end of chapters. And I think that if she had just either not included his perspective at all or added more of it, it would have been better. Because having just so few, it's like barely used, it doesn't allow me to get to know him quite as much as if the book was like truly dual perspective. It's one of those things where if like a device is used, I sometimes want it to like either go full for it or leave it out. And in this case, I would just rather she had left it out if she wasn't going to fully go for it. That's like one of the critiques. I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to be about a 4-star. I don't think the ending's going to do anything to like blow me away, but I am having a good time. And I think it's a fun historical fantasy, especially like a YA one. I haven't read in a long time as many YA books. And so this has been nice to get back into that side of things, and I definitely will continue with the series, I think. Unless the ending for some reason is like really horrible, I can see myself continuing. And I am interested to see like where it would go from here and like what we're gonna wrap up and what's gonna be left open for the rest of the book. And I think it said that the next book comes out in November, so if I like it, I don't have to wait too long. Well, I finished What the River Knows by Isabella Bañas, and I really liked it. I think I'm gonna go with a 4-star. it's kind of between a 3.5 and a 4 for me. I really enjoyed it. I think that in some ways I wish we had gotten a little bit more to the story, but at the same time I really enjoyed it. And the ending left on a cliffhanger. So I really want to know what happens, and I definitely will be continuing the series for sure. I really enjoyed just the historical like mystery element almost to it, and the fantasy side of it, like the magic, I think was a good amount for like what kind of story it was trying to be. So if you like light magic stories, I think that you could like this one. For me, it worked out really well. I like both. Like I like light magic and some stronger magic elements, but in this like type of story, I just think it worked really well. The main like critiques I have for the story is a little bit the pacing, like I wish more happened, but then also just Inez as a character, I just wish that she took charge a little bit more. I think somewhat she's a damsel in distress a little bit, and that's not always my favorite character to follow. Like I wanted her to believe in herself more, but at the same time, I really liked being in her head as well because she is really trying to figure out who she can trust, and she's all alone, so she really doesn't have anyone to look after her. And I think she needed to have a bit of a coming of age storyline as well. So it made a lot of sense with the story, and I really did enjoy it, and it really did a lot of things that I enjoy. So overall, I'm going to give it a 4-star. I definitely will be continuing with the series. It's supposed to come out, I think, in November, and I'm very excited for it because where the rest of the story will go will probably be something I will really enjoy. And I really liked the elements of Egyptian tombs and stuff like that. I just wish we almost got a little bit more of it as well. So I'm hoping in the ones to come we do get more of it. So yeah, that's my rating, 4 stars. And I think the last book of the vlog I'm going to read is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This is like a romantasy series that my mom and sister have read and really enjoyed. I think they're both on like the last book in the series, or my sister's finished and my mom's got the last one to read. So I wanted to have something to talk to them about, and they read more romantasy than I do, so I thought I would pick this one up and give it a try. I've heard it is very, very slow burn, and I like slow burn, so I'm thinking I will enjoy this one. And I don't know much about it except for that our main character Diem is like a human, and she has to like take over her mother's job after her mom disappears, and I think she starts to learn things aren't what they seem. But that's really all I know. But I've heard good reviews on it from people who like the romantasy genre, so I am hopeful, and we'll see if this can like spark my true like romantasy journey, because I do think I enjoy some fantasy with romance, so like fantasy romance, but I haven't tried like true romantasy. So we'll see how I feel about it, but I will give you thoughts in a little bit because I haven't started it yet. But I also got a package from Hangout that I wanted to open with you. Yay. So this is Notes on an Execution by Dania Kakafka, and I've just heard really, really good things about this. Oh, stop. There's the cutest little stickers in there. Books. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that one. Sorry, I was reading. It's so cute. But I've heard really good things about this one, and I've been wanting to pick it up, so I saw it on Pango. It's actually Sid from Sid Bookworm. Her channel, I saw something on Instagram, she posted that she was putting up books, so I looked and I found 2 that I really liked. So I'm really excited to have this one because, like I said, I have really good reviews on it, and I think it's going to be something I like. It just like sounds like my kind of thing. And then this is I think it's a horror fantasy type book that I've also wanted to pick up for a while. It's got a gothic vibe. It's called Plain Bad Heroines, and if I remember, I want to say it's set in 1902 at a school for girls, and I don't remember much more than that, except for that when I had originally put on my TBR on Goodreads, I really wanted to read it, and she had messaged me. She left her tabs in and asked if that was okay, and I just thought that'd be fun to see, like, while I'm reading, what someone else's thoughts were on it, so she left it in, and that is great. But yeah, I do want to see how I feel about this, because I haven't heard many reviews of it, but back when it came out, I had really wanted to read it. So that's Plain Bad Heroines. 2 new books. Very excited. And then I'll see you in a little bit when I have updates on Spark of the Everflame. So I'm already 128 pages into Spark of the Everflame, and I gotta say, This reads so quickly. It's 400 pages, and I've read this in like no time at all. So it definitely is a quick read. So, what is this about? This is about our main character, Diem, and her mother goes missing at the beginning of the story. She sees something that's kind of weird with her mother and this descendant, which the descendants are basically the people who have power. They're supposed to be descended from gods, and her family are mortals, and mortals are like the lower class in this world, and they are very regulated, and the descendants like rule everything. So she sees her mom with a descendant, and it's very weird because most mortals don't really do anything with descendants, but she knows that her mom is a healer, and so she knows her mom works with descendants sometimes to heal them for certain things. But other than that, it would be weird to see her mom like talking to one. And so then it flashes forward like 6 months later, and her mom's been missing since that day she saw her mom talking to a descendant. She's kind of like grappling with what happened to her mom, but she's also taking this like flame root powder that she's had to take since she was a child, and she doesn't really question like why she was taking it. She basically was told she had like delusions when she was a child, and so slowly you're getting like more and more about that. But then one day she is a at the healing place that she works, and her and this other lady who works there have to go and heal some children that are descendants. And so she goes, and she ends up seeing the descendant that she saw with her mother. And I have to believe that he's like the main love interest. I've heard that she starts off with like one guy, which is Henry, and that she doesn't really get to like the real love interest in this book. So I'm thinking it's him. And she immediately doesn't like him because he's like kind of rude to her, but also she's just like suspicious of him. And mainly now we're just kind of following her as she's with Henry, like going to this other city, and she's slowly like learning more about the magic because and like the descendants and like that kind of thing, because her mom has kept her very sheltered and like doesn't want her to go to the descendants at all. And also her hair and eye color are like the color of descendants, but she's human. And her like her thing was like she had an illness when she was a child, and that's what changed her eye color. So like everyone asks her, and she always says the same thing. And like I don't feel like, one, that's not a spoiler because like I'm this far in, so like she very well couldn't be descendant, but I feel like likely is she's a descendant, and mortals and descendants aren't supposed to like have children. They're like killed if they have them. So I'm guessing she's probably, you know, a mortal and descendant. Yeah, we're starting to see glimpses of like magic and intrigue. I don't really know like fully what the plot is going to be other than like trying to find out what happened to her mom. But like I said, it's a really quick read, and I am enjoying it. It's something that I don't think is like sucking me in fully, where like I could see it being a 5-star read, but it's definitely good, and I am enjoying it. So we'll see where it goes. So far, I also am interested because they're her with Henry. Like, I don't know if we're supposed to like her or if he's gonna start like doing things that make us not like him. Because to me, I'm like, if she's gonna go with like another guy eventually, we gotta see why she wants to break it off with Henry. And so far, he's like doesn't have much personality, but I don't really mind him. It's not really doing anything. I'm interested to see how I feel the longer I get into it. I feel like it's gonna be one of those books where like halfway through we're gonna get like a lot happening. So I'll let you know when I get maybe like more of the way through and tell you how I feel. But so far, it's going well. So I probably have about 150-ish pages left, and I gotta say, I am enjoying this a lot. I think that there's a lot of dialogue between characters and stuff, so it just reads really quickly. I will say that the person that she's with at the start of the book, I think is like not going to be the love interest, and I feel like that's been obvious just by how people talk about it, but also with the back of it. So she's currently with another guy, and he's not my favorite. If he was just like not there, like it would be fine. I don't hate him, but I'm like, you could just not be in the story and that'd be fine too. So as much as I don't care that it's a slow burn, like I like a slow burn romance, I do kind of wish that there was more interactions. Like they are there, it's just I want a little bit more. But also I like the world building a lot, and I like learning about the descendants and like how the magic system works. But I kind of wish that we were getting like a little bit more, and I feel like towards the end we are, but there's like this like side plot of people that are just like in a rebel like group, and so she's kind of getting sucked into things like that, and I find it all interesting, but I think that a lot of it is like intentionally left vague. I wish that we have gotten more like glimpses into what these people are planning and stuff, because right now everything's pretty vague, and I know that's to like build tension, but I kind of just wish for how much that we would get a little bit more. And there has been action and stuff. I just think like I wish I understood like why she's gathering certain like information for them, because I think it would make it feel more impactful to me. I don't know. But I do like our main character Diem, and I think that she is like a strong, interesting character to follow. I like that she is both a healer, but she also knows how to fight, and so she can like hold her own. I do think she's making like some dumb decisions, but I feel like that's pretty common in like these kind of stories. Like, no main character is going to make like all the right decisions, and it's not like the worst either. Like, she's not like completely like supposed to be one type of character, but then like everything she does like goes against that. Like, I really dislike when you have like an assassin and then like they make completely dumb decisions. Like, they're supposed to be really smart and really badass, and then they like make dumb decisions the whole time. Like, I don't like that juxtaposition, but in this, like, I think that she is strong and she like makes dumb decisions, but it's not like all the time, and it kind of fits with like her character, so it makes sense. And yeah, so I like her, and I just wish too though that there was more like female friendships in here. She has a mentor, but other than that, like, she doesn't have like, there's not a lot of women characters, and I wish like there was a little bit more, because I really like friendship dynamics, and we're getting less of that in this book. So right now I'm sitting on like a 4-star. I think by the end it'll probably still be a 4-star, like especially if the ending gets like crazier. I've heard it leaves on a cliffhanger, so I think all of that will like solidify my 4-star rating, but that's what it feels like to me. I think it's fun, so I'm having a good time, and I can see why people do really like it. I think it's a fun one, so I'm here for it, and I definitely will continue the series, I think, especially based on the ending. If it's like a cliffhanger, I have a feeling I'm going to want to go into the next one right away. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to probably finish this tonight, and then I'll check in with you and finish up the vlog. But yeah, I think it should not take me too long, and I'm hoping I can finish it tonight. Hello. It's a couple days later. I finished reading on Friday, and it's now Sunday, and I'm just gonna film the end of this and go into another weekly vlog that I started on yesterday. So I did end up finishing Spark of the Everflame, and if this is any indication to how I felt about it, I did already order the second book. I really liked it. I think it's 4-star in the end, like I said. The cliffhanger was really good, and I did want to know what was going to happen. Why are romantasy books so big, though? Can we talk about that? Why is this like 600 pages? I'm not afraid of big books. Like, I've definitely read big books. I'm currently reading a big book. But like, I was just not expecting this out of a romantasy. I hope that means that there's a lot going on world building wise, because in this, one of the things I wanted more of was the world and the world building and how everything worked and like the lore of the gods. Like, I really wanted more of that, so I'm really hoping that this size means we're gonna get that. So overall, 4 stars. I think it was fun. I think it was slow burn, just like people said, which is my preference. I'm wondering if the books will get spicier as they go. I don't like love a lot of spice, but I can handle some. So it's just, I hope it doesn't like completely do a 180 and like neglect the plot for just spice, because I really like the plot and the characters. I think that this felt like a starter book, which is why it's a 4-star. Felt like it was building up to a lot more that's going to happen throughout the series. So it wasn't my favorite, because I tend to like first books that can really have a lot going on in it in the first one without feeling like a builder book, and this one just had that feeling of a builder book. Plus the romance is very slow burn, which I enjoy, but I wish like we got more on-page interactions between them, because while I like a slow burn, I don't necessarily like not having the characters interact. I just want it to take longer for them to get together, if that makes sense. So overall, I did really enjoy it, and I am going to continue, which is fun because I really like being able to talk to my family and like friends about books, and I don't often get to do that because typically I just tend to read a little bit differently than the people I've been friends with. So, you know, it's been great to be able to talk to my mom and sister about these kind of books. So I think in the next reading vlog you will be seeing me read the second book because I can't be stopped. But that means in this reading vlog I read these 4 books, which I'm really happy about. I think that it was really nice to get to some like books I had been anticipating. I didn't give anything lower than a 3, so overall I think it was a really good reading experience for me. I found some things I really enjoyed, and all of the series here I will be continuing. So that's a win to me, and I'm just happy I got to all these, and it's been nice to do just like a weekly vlog where I read whatever I want. So I think I'm going to continue that, as I said earlier. So thank you for watching. If you got to the end of the video, if you want to leave an orange heart emoji for all the orange covers, I'd love to have it down below. And just this, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.